reviews. Interesting headlines have been plagued on the local dailies that you definitely want to be part of. So my name is Cynthia Nanjala. Let me bring you up to speed on what is making headlines across the country. We begin with some tragic news this morning, where 7 people died and 11 others sustained injuries in a tragic road accident at Kikopey, Nakuru County. The accident involved a lorry traveling from Nairobi to Nakuru and 2 passenger vehicles heading from Nakuru to Nairobi. Gilgil Area Police Commander Woolston Mwakio confirmed that 5 people died at the scene, while 2 more succumbed to their injuries at St. Mary's Hospital in Gilgil. The injured victims were rushed to various hospitals in Nakuru for treatment, and authorities are investigating the circumstances that led to the collision, while police have called on motorists to exercise caution on busy highways to prevent similar incidents.
Mwanzo aligonga gari yenye iko pale mbele matatu. Ikatoa abiria mmoja ndani mwenye alikuwa upande wa dirisha nyuma. Ikamtoa nje. Ndio ikakuja sasa ingeingiana Edon na huyu wa matatu.
Ipanuliwe. Imeua watu sana.
Tuambie hizi tunaenda kwenye zitapita kwa sababu accident zimekuwa too much hapa. Dereva wamechoka, ametoka Mombasa, anaenda huko boda huko Maraba, mtu amechoka na wana expect aendeshe gari peke yake. Tumekasirika sana, serikali lazima itusaidie. Na tunataka kuambia Ruto, venye alituahidi barabara itapanuliwa. Aanzie hapa Kikopey, juu accident imekuwa mingi.
Well, we condole with the families and wish those that are recovering, to recover better and to be well. And we empathize with those that have lost their lives. Transport and business activities were disrupted in Karatina town on Monday after local business operators barricaded the busy Nairobi-Nyeri highway to protest the fatal shooting of a businessman. The victim, identified as George, was allegedly shot 4 times by Peter Mwangi, an administration police officer who was on night duty at a nearby petrol station. The incident reportedly followed a heated argument, and George died instantly at the scene. The Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, has confirmed that investigations into the shooting are underway. Meanwhile, George's family has called for justice, expressing grief over the loss of their loved one.
We were informed by saa 5 ya usiku. That's when we came with the mother and found it is true that my son was killed by the askari. He was only 40 years at the prime age. He has left behind the wife and the 2 children.
I'm very disappointed for the act that happened last night. I can't believe that my husband is no more. And I'm seeking justice for him. He didn't deserve to be shot. Justice for my husband.
Ni kijana mdogo ameajili watu wengi, na from jana saa 5:30 hatujawahi ona either ni senator, mbunge ama nani kwa hii Karatina town akielezea mambo ya huyo askari na mambo ya George mwenye aliuawa jana usiku. We need justice.
Sisi hakuna kitu walikuwa wanaulizana. Kuna mambo ya kuua mtu na kuulizana kweli? Kuna mambo ya kuulizana na mtu ya kuua mtu? Sasa ile kitu tunataka sisi ni haki. Tunataka haki ya George. Huyo askari alikuwa mlevi.
Back to the capital, where President William Ruto emphasized that his administration's new Youth Empowerment Initiative is focused on the future of the nation rather than political gains. Speaking during the launch of the 258.4 million shillings Nyota Business Capital Support, the president said the program aims to uplift young entrepreneurs and strengthen economic opportunities for the next generation. The event, held at Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani in Nairobi, targeted 10,337 young business people from Nairobi, Kiambu, and Kajiado counties. Ruto warned political rivals against politicizing the initiative, reiterating that the program is meant to empower youth and to foster sustainable development.
Hii program si program ya siasa. Hii program ni ya biashara. Ni mnanielewa? Kuna mtu hapa ameulizwa wewe ni wa chama gani ndio ingie kwa hii program? Kwa ile maswali ilikuweko hapo, muliambiwa what is your political party? Muliambiwa kama wewe ni wa no term? Muliulizwa kama wewe ni wa one term? Uliulizwa kama wewe ni wa two term? Uliulizwa kama wewe ni wa long term? Tunaelewana? Nasema hapa nikiwa mbele yenu, this is not about politics. Kwa sababu mimi naona watu wengi wanaongea mambo ya bure ya siasa. This is not about political parties. This is not about politics. This is not about the next election. This is about this generation and the next generation and the future of our country. For a very long time, everything we do is about politics and about the next election. And that is why we never succeed. This time round, we are running programs that are not about politics, that are not about the next election. We want to focus on how to move Kenya to the next level. And I am confident that we are going to move this country to the next level. Hii mpango hii itafikia vijana 820,000. This Nyota program is a program that will reach 820,000 young people in Kenya. Unajua mara nyingi, mimi nataka niwaeleze, unajua mara nyingi nimesema, na mimi nitauliza mawaziri hapa. Tumesema ya kwamba tumeweka mpango kamili. Vijana wanafanya kazi katika ile program yetu ya affordable housing na markets na hostels. Watu wengi wananiuliza, hawa vijana 500,000 wako wapi? Wengine tumewaambia ya kwamba Kenya hii, in the last 3 years, tumetuma vijana nje ya Kenya kupitia kwa mpango yetu ya export of labor. National Employment Authority wameprocess vijana 530,000 wameenda nje ya Kenya kufanya kazi. Wananiuliza wako wapi? Na hii ya Nyota, kwa sababu tungetumana hii pesa bila ya kuwaita hapa, lakini nimewaita hapa makusudi. Ndio wale wananiulizanga maswali, hawa vijana unasema umewapatia pesa, wako wapi? Sasa mimi nataka niwaambie, ndio hawa wako hapa, na kila mtu hapa atatoka na pesa yake.
A former Moya Member of Parliament Peter Njuguna Gitau has been released on bond as police continue investigations into an alleged motor vehicle theft case. Gitau and 4 other suspects were on Monday freed by Amuranga Court after being granted a cash bail of 500,000 shillings each, or an alternative bond of 1 million shillings with a similar surety. Senior Resident Magistrate Eric Analo dismissed an application by the prosecution seeking to detain the suspect for 21 days to allow completion investigations. According to an affidavit filed by the prosecution, the suspects are accused of stealing a motor vehicle in Murang'a County on November 4th of 2025. However, the court found no sufficient grounds to justify their continued detention. Justice Nduma Nderi, presiding judge of the Judicial Review and Labor Rights Division, has urged the enactment of laws to regulate Kenya's growing digital economy. Speaking before the Judicial Service Commission JSC interview panel, Justice Nderi emphasized that clear legal frameworks are essential to protect Kenyans employed online, especially in cases of disputes. Now, during the same session, Lady Justice Lynette Mumo highlighted the need for independence among Kenya's 3 arms of government, noting that strengthening institutional autonomy would help reduce recurring tensions.
Commissioner, there's a critical need to legislate around these issues. But when cases which come before us clearly deserve our attention because of their nature and how they grossly impact the rights of the persons affected, we will be called upon and basically, as I said, looking around the world and the decisions which have been made, like Uber cases have been made all over the world now. So it's actually no longer a new area. Uber, there's been litigation in America, in Australia, everywhere on Uber. So we have actually good guidance from precedents all over to help us determine those relationships which are not visible. They're out there.
There should be reduction in tension for the judiciary, because the judiciary is usually the last port of call.
The ongoing cooperation between Orange Democratic Movement (ODM) and the Kenya Kwanza government has triggered fresh divisions within the opposition party, with some leaders warning they may quit if plans to formalize a political alliance are implemented ahead of the 2027 general elections. Saboti Member of Parliament Caleb Hamisi has come out strongly against the proposed cooperation, accusing the ODM leadership of attempting to sell out the party through an alliance with the ruling UDA. Hamisi argues that such a move does not have the support of ODM members and undermines the party's identity as an opposition force.
Watu wa ODM, mko hapa? Nawaambia ODM ambayo ilikuwa na baba sio ile. ODM imenunuliwa na William Ruto, wanataka kufukuza Caleb Hamisi. Ati kwa sababu anafanya one term. Wanataka kufukuza Babu Owino. Wanataka kufukuza Edwin Sifuna. Hawana aibu. Wamama oe. Hawana aibu. Wanataka tena kufukuza watoto wa Raila mwenyewe akina Winnie. Baba anakufa, wanataka kufukuza hadi watoto kwa chama. Hii ni chama kweli ama ni karatasi? Sio imeisha. So tunasema kwa heshima, wale walinipea kura kwa chama ya ODM, hiyo chama inaharibiwa, imenunuliwa na William Ruto, muwe tayari kutupigia kura with or without ODM. Muko tayari? Muko tayari? Na wakiendelea kutufukuza, hata sisi tutaanzisha chama yetu.
Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ochieng has called for a future where bursaries and scholarships are no longer necessary, saying equal access to quality education should be guaranteed for all children from primary school to university. Speaking at Sega Township Primary School during the disbursement of 8.6 million shillings in scholarships to 286 students joining national schools, Ochieng expressed hope that future governments will establish an education system that eliminates financial barriers for learners. Ochieng noted that since 2013, bursary allocation in Ugenya constituency has been conducted without political discrimination, allowing even his political opponents to benefit. He contrasted this with other areas where bursaries are allegedly issued based on political loyalty, a practice he termed unfair and exclusionary.
Mambo ya bursary. I pray that in my lifetime, we will have to stop giving bursaries and scholarships. That in my lifetime, there will be a president who will come. Kutakuwa na rais ambaye atakuja hapa mbele kama sio mimi, ambayo atatoa mambo ya bursary na scholarship. Wanafunzi wasome bure tu from primary school to the university. Tungependa hiyo. Because you can imagine what you have to go through. Every year, bursary, scholarship, wengine hawapati. You know, in our constituency, hapa Ugenya, the best we've done since 2013 is that we don't look at politics when we are doing mambo ya bursary. Utapata kwamba wala wamepata bursary is scholarship. Some of them are my most staunch opponents hapa. Utapata wanapata. Because we don't look at politics when we are giving bursaries. But there are places where ukienda constituencies zingine utapata mtoto anapita mtihani vizuri, lakini anapata bursary based on who their parents support. So you can imagine what people go through. So you want this to be levelized. You want every kid to have the best they can have in education. You want to have every kid to have a level playing field in as far as access to quality education is concerned. Najua nimesema mingi sana leo. I wish you all the best. Nawatakia kila laheri walimu, wazazi, wanafunzi wetu. Mungu na wabariki sana. Mungu awabariki Kenya yetu hii. Atutoe kwa majanga ya njaa, majanga ya ufisadi, majanga ya saa zingine uongozi mbaya. Tungependa sana kama inchi kama inchi tuongozwe based on the law. You know, you hear people talking sometimes and you wonder where they come from. Someone wakes up and says that Alliance is in Kikuyu, so only Kikuyu students go to Alliance. And the person who has studied in Nairobi University akuna degree ya political science, anasema kule Mangu iwache wa Kikuyu peke yake. And that's why us in Luo Nyanza, we can't support Gachagua and his surrogates. We can't support anybody supported by Gachagua, because he is died in the old tribalist, doesn't believe in the project called Kenya, doesn't believe in people who are not Kikuyu. He only believes in himself and his tribe. We must get leaders who believe in the country, leaders who will bring us together, leaders who will develop this country regardless of where you come from. And that is why as MDG we've said, and we repeat here today, that we'll work with William Samoei Ruto to get his second term. Baada ya hiyo kama Nyanza tutajipanga pia sisi tupate mtaende mbele na kazi ya urais.
The impact of telemedicine technology is increasingly being felt across health facilities in Murang'a County, with a significant reduction in patient queues reported over the past year. Governor Irungu Kang'ata says long queues that previously characterized public health facilities have greatly reduced after 35 health centers across all the 35 wards were connected to the internet, enabling health workers to consult with patients remotely. Speaking at Kibio Primary School during celebrations, marking the first anniversary of the telemedicine service, Governor Kang'ata noted that the initiative has transformed service delivery with chronic illnesses, particularly on patients with chronic illnesses.
The telemedicine was started by the county about 1 year ago, and we have about 35 medical facilities that offer the service, but the hub is situated here at Moriranja. Moriranja is a hospital that was on its way to closure because of patients failing to come and seek services. They are complaining of negligence, but since telemedicine came, we have seen an upsurge of demand of services there, because apart from the telemedicine services, they also render other consultations within the medical facility. But telemedicine, the idea was we connect internet in our rural facilities. Patients don't have to come and seek advanced medical consultation in our level 5, which is, we only have one in Murang'a town. So people would come all the way from Gatanga, Kangima, Madioya, Kegumo to seek such specialized services in Murang'a level 5. They pay fare, they waste a whole day, so and they have to pay consultations in Murang'a. So it has reduced the huge queues at our clinics in Murang'a level 5 and ensured a higher life expectancy for people with chronic ailments like cancer.
This is not the first time that we are having a medical camp in Murang'a. We have been in Murang'a probably 2 years ago, and this is the second time that we are coming. We are happy to see a very big crowd today, and as Governor has said, while our target is to see 3,000 patients, I'm pleased to say that we have actually seen more than 3,000 patients today, and we are hoping that we can still continue to see more patients as we go along. We are here until 6 o'clock in the evening, so we are hoping that more patients can continue coming. We are happy that we are partnering with Murang'a County, who have been very, very supportive. Murang'a County are celebrating 1 year of telemedicine. At M-Pesa Foundation, telemedicine is actually one of the initiatives that we are also offering. And we are pleased that counties like Murang'a are taking advantage of bringing healthcare closer to the people by the use of telemedicine.
Nimefurahi sana kwa sababu ya kupewa dawa ni daktari. Ile aliletwa ni Kang'ata.
Tumeona mpango huu umekuwa umepangiliwa kikweli, na madaktari wako wengi, dawa ziko wengi, ziko nyingi, na bado tunafurahia hivyo, na Kang'ata aendelea hivyo hivyo.
More than 600 grade 10 students have officially begun their studies at MP Shah Chania Boys Secondary School, marking the start of a new academic chapter for learners placed at the institution under the competency-based curriculum. The students reported to the school with high expectations as they underwent orientation to familiarize themselves with school routines, academic pathways, and co-curricular activities. Many of the new learners expressed excitement as they settled into their new environment.
The students are upbeat, they are happy, they are coping, very inquisitive. They are different from the 844 system. And so long as we are ready for them, I think we are good to go. Yeah, so the teachers of MP Shachani High School are very ready. In fact, we have already designated a teacher whom we are calling the principal in charge of grade 10 school with his 2 deputies. That appointment has already been done. Those teachers and actually all the heads of department have been given enhanced training apart from the one that was conducted in December by the government. As a school, we have taken an initiative. We have looked for people who are more conversant with CBE, and those teachers, as early as yesterday, they were taken through a whole day of intensive training on how to handle the grade 10. So as far as we are concerned, our teachers are ready.
Mimi nilichagua STEM ambayo tumefundishwa iko na subject kadhaa kama physics, chemistry, power and mechanics, kadhalika. Kama mimi nachagua advanced math, physics na computer science ambayo itanisaidia kuwa automotive engineer. Yeah.
Nimefurahia sana kuitwa Chania Boys na nimefurahia sana na shule ni mzuri sana na masomo ni mzuri sana huku. Na grade 10 ni mzuri, hizi masomo ni mzuri. Na mimi na career yangu ni software engineering, mimi ni wa STEM. So
I want to pursue my senior school in social sciences, and I want to do business, and I want to pursue my career as an entrepreneur.
All right, allow us to take a quick breather. Coming back after the break is Jeff with the newspaper review. You'll be looking at the Standard and the Daily Nation to just get a sneak peek of what is making headlines locally. Don't go too far. Stay with us.
Good morning. Once again, the 20th day of January 2025. My name is Jeffrey Kimeyo Somba, and we are moving into the newspaper review. And we've got the Daily Nation and we've got the Standard. But before we go too far, and I'm very sure that you keep following our news and the news around that we've had elections last Saturday or Thursday, 15th of January, just last week, when Ugandans held the general elections. And 1 thing, and 2 days before the general elections day, it was very evident that internet was shut down, and this was just to prevent any communication. What maybe they purported is that they wanted to curb any kind of misinformation as far as the voting or even elections are concerned. But what is coming up clearly is that just a few days after the elections, a network was, or even internet was restored immediately after elections were done. A very big question is that why is it that internet was shut down 2 days before elections, and again, why was it restored just a few days before or even after Museveni was declared and unveiled as the president. Museveni, for your information, he's been holding power since 1986, and now he holds his 7th term. This is to mean that Museveni, it's a reflection of his name that maybe is satisfying all that he's been wanting. Now back to the issue of internet. The biggest question is that why was it restored just a few days after he was declared the winner of the general elections come 15th of January this month? Now someone was saying that it was not Ugandans, or if it was not the president or even Uganda who broke or even who curbed internet, but they were saying that there is a wire that maybe was cut by water vessel around Indian Ocean. But I'm wondering who was supposed to restore that, who was supposed to reconnect the wires if they're broken by the water vessels around Indian Ocean. A very big question about integrity, about how transparent we're supposed to be as leaders, and having a leader for more than 40 years in one position, not changing the position, and again not changing what he found, and not changing the developments that maybe he found, or even changing a state that he found within terms of this. Looks like a kind of lust, a kind of greed, and a political character that may be, and a trait that we may not want it to take place again. So we prayed for Ugandans to have peaceful elections, but looking at what maybe is taking place around this time, we saw a lot of demonstrations staged around every place and around every region of Uganda. So we keep asking our African leaders and maybe leaders all over the world, what will you take home and what will you leave back when you go, when you leave, you people suffering more than you found them? A question that needs to be posted to our leaders that we have around. Now, moving to the Standard newspaper, we have got a very sad story, and this is something that has been taking place around. It's all about EACC and NYS, and one of the biggest responsibilities of EACC is to maybe oversight or even look at what leaders are doing, and to make sure that maybe corruption and fraud is taken to the lowest levels, if at all a country is made to grow. And before we go, I want us to do something, and I want us to understand the purpose of NYS in this country. And one of them is to train young people in discipline, patriotism, and life skills. And the other is to provide vocational and technical skills. The third one is support national development projects like road construction, housing, sanitation, and environment conservation. The fourth one is assist during national emergencies like floods, disaster, and public works. And the last one, create employment pathways by preparing youth for jobs or self-employment. But we are looking at it whereby a lot of people, maybe the key people within NYS, who are maybe trying to take advantage of what they have to make sure that they benefit themselves, other than benefiting what, or even doing what NYS is really made for. And Standard is talking of a scandal reloaded. So this is to mean it is something that has been taking place all over, and maybe it is something that maybe we don't see it taking place. And something I want to push to ACC is that sometimes you notice a person or even a character who maybe involve themselves in our scandalous events or even issues, and maybe to make advantage of what they find in NYS. But you find that because a very strict and a very capital punishment is not leveled upon them, you find them just getting back to the same. So the Standard is talking about scandal reloaded, and a fresh 6.2 billion NYS payout has reopened one of Kenya's most enduring corruption readers and placed the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in the dark. Court filing seen by the Standard show EACC once helped clear most of the very claims it now calls fictitious before rushing to court to stop payment, and the sender is Benson. And this is Ben. His name is Gethy Wangui, a convicted forger acquitted NYS suspect and self-declared billionaire probes as the operational brain behind the looting of public funds as the state waves billions hang in the balance and accountability once again slips away. Yeah, so that's what I was talking of, and the Standard has put a very big picture of this is Gethi Wangui, who we've seen pictured on the top page of the Standard, and we're looking at EACC, and he's convicted forger, and this is to mean he's been taking into his ownership all that belongs to NYS instead of, and that's why I started by saying that we have the responsibilities and duties of NYS, but because maybe there's someone who is ready to take advantage of the same, maybe they take all this into their possession, not knowing that there is a responsibility that is clearly, or even mandate that is made clearly for the NYS. And we are looking at the loss of 6.2 billion NYS payout has been reopened, one of Kenya's most enduring corruption riddles. And sometimes we sit down and we look at how this looks like a very serious and a very maybe well orchestrated syndicate, whereby maybe it is not coming to an end very soon. And this is a public fund whereby it's supposed to help a lot of people, a lot of young people, maybe do a lot of employment, to do a lot of sanitation, maybe when it comes to floods, to do that kind of evacuation. But we're looking at a very big amount of money amounting to 6.2 billion Kenyan shillings just going to a pocket of one person. So in kind of trying to uncover all this, it's very clear that maybe this is the only person maybe who is used maybe not like a scapegoat, but actually who is used like the very, very key person to make sure that maybe if they secure this amount of money or even a kind of a property for themselves, it will be helping maybe some kind of people who maybe were not made to benefit from the same. So total, this is 6.2 billion total disputed NY supplier claims, with 5.374 billion being cleared for payment by 2020 agency report. And that's why I said the Standard is talking of a scandal reloaded. So this is something that has been taking place all over from 2020 and even maybe years before 2020. Actually, an indication that these are people who are made to maybe scandalize or even to make sure that NYS does not fully work as supposed to work. So we're looking to see how ACC does the same, because we're told that as the state waivers billions hang in the balance and accountability once again slips. So maybe this is something that follow-up has been made for some good time, but later you find that maybe they are paid or even just quote the kind of payment, and maybe they leave it go just as it is, and this will benefit someone else. So maybe to our us being so careful with all that is happening, we need to make sure that, or even hold accountable all these officers or even officials from NYS. Page 2 of the Standard: shame of Sirisha school with no head teacher, dilapidated facilities. And the issue of our schools has been an issue for a very long time, and we've been asking and saying that one of the very key facilities that we need to have in this country and make sure that it propels our development to every sector of this country is education, because we very keen to note that every person working from every sector, from every industry, they have to pass through a teacher, they have to pass through a school. But looking at a situation whereby last week it was clearly reported that 800,000 pupils had not yet reported to schools because of lack of fees, because the situation around them is around their parents is not able to take their children home to school. And a very key question, we're looking at devolution at more than 10 years now, and devolution was made to make sure that developments are pushed and sent all the way to the very most local places of a village and maybe of a constituency. But we're looking at a place where devolution is already working for more than 10 years, but nothing is happening. So I'm thinking of a situation where we saw a school in Meru and another school in Kitui. They're very remote places of Kitui where no development as far as education infrastructure has taken place in the sense or even in the tenure and time of devolution. This is to mean that we need to hold our leaders so accountable for all this is happening. As we say, education is very key for a country or even a society to grow. Looking at a place whereby a society maybe has got like a million people, and you can't find resourceful people around the same place because just no education that has been taken so seriously around that region. So shame of Sirisia school within no head teacher, dilapidated facilities, and community members are outraged over unsafe classrooms and no leadership. They are calling for urgent intervention from education. And just to read something, a public primary school in Sirisia constituency, Bungoma County, is grappling with a deepening crisis of dilapidated facilities, exposing learners to deplorable learning conditions. Parents, teachers, and community members at Kaburet SA Primary School are outraged over what they term unsafe classrooms, inadequate learning materials, and a prolonged leadership vacuum. The school has no substantive head teacher. And it is so shameful indeed for such a school in Bungoma to lack substantive leadership, whereby it has not been having a head teacher for a very long time. And again, comparing that, putting that into balance with the issue of the dilapidated conditions or situation within the environment, the classrooms are looking at so dangerous to the students or to the learners. This is a message that to be sent to our leaders, that maybe building just a classy and just a local school does not take too much, and it's not so expensive to make sure that our learners are giving out or even are learning through a kind of a conducive environment. Again, looking at the physical risks that we find in the same environment, in the school environment, is that if maybe you are learning or even you're a learner from a school that the walls are just looking like they want to meet on or they want to collapse, this sends a very big risks to this. And maybe if the construction has not been able to take place, what will happen if these walls collapse on learners? What will happen? Will health sector, even will people from the health sector take care of the same if maybe construction of the very simple classes have not yet taken place? And I want to put this into our attention, that if the school has got just a very serious leadership, maybe from the head teacher who is posted there seriously and in maybe pensionable or even long-serving terms, I think it could have maybe prompted all this kind of simple development to take place. So to our education stakeholders and maybe to the Ministry of Education, we just want to push a thought for them that there's a serious risk to our learners, and if things don't work all together for the same, they just need to take one thing and make sure that they run with it. They make sure that developments are done. They say, moving to the third page of the Standard, financial struggles block thousands of top learners from grade 10 admission. It has been a puzzle. It has been kind of a paradox for grade 10 learners. It's a password for all these learners and maybe the teachers. And you find that maybe to give you a glimpse of what's happening, with only a day to grade 10 admissions deadline on Wednesday, this is tomorrow, thousands of learners from vulnerable households remain stranded at home, and their dreams hanging in the balance despite excelling in the Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment. This is KJSL. And across the country, children who passed the assessment and were competitively placed in national and extra county schools are unable to report because their families cannot afford the cost. For 15-year-old, and this is a very worrying case, for 15-year-old Albina Nekesa Swaka, the joy of scoring 65 points at Langata Primary School and securing a place at Ebutere Girls in School has quickly turned into despair. The total cost of reporting including 53,550 in fees and shopping is far beyond what the family can raise. We have tried all scholarships programs without success. Our hope is now on the future. Nekesa said, I've always betraying the fear of losing a slot in one of the country's top girls' schools and the dream of pursuing the STEM pathway here. So the reason as to why I always keep on repeating the issue of school or even education is very key for a country or even for personal development. If maybe we try to pull this down to a personal benefit or even personal level, and we're looking at how the transition to grade 10 has been an issue, maybe for almost 80% of learners, 80% of our parents just around our country, whereby our student has scored a very good marks, making aim to transition smoothly and seamlessly to grade 10. But when they get back to their parents or even to the status and the situations just around home, you find nothing is taking place. You just find they're not able to cater for what's happening. And maybe for Nekesa, you find that she needs 53,550 Kenyan shillings, and this is January. Now, we need to know or even to know that parents, those who are, it's always very key to make sure that you do a long-term preparation for your child as they keep learning. You just need to keep monitoring the steps and make sure that maybe you prepare them as very well and satisfactorily behave. After all, they have to succeed and maybe pursue any kind of education they want for their lives. But I'm looking at the situation where we find even capitation has been an issue, whereby allocation has been done maybe to a pupil or even to a student, whereby a student may deserve to have a capitation or even a budget of 22 to 26,000 per certain period, but you find that this is not taken into consideration. This kind of money is not trickled back to the benefit of the parents or even to the students. So this transition, I think there is a way, it's a good transition because of the STEM pathways. It is supporting most of the talents, and maybe it is shortening the period for a learner to achieve or even to notice what they want from a very young age. But we're looking at the other side of it. If maybe we flip the coin and look at what maybe happens if you succeed in one way and the other side you succeed, and as a student, there are, as a learner, as a young person, there are some of the issues that maybe will come upon you if you don't exactly achieve what you wanted. That is kind of maybe you feel that maybe you feel like you exercised, or even you're just very new to a society. You feel that you're just a misfit in a society if some of the things don't work. So again, I push it to the Ministry of Education to make sure that if at all this transition has to take place, because we are looking at it, a big number of students have not reported to school because of the issue of the fees burden. And there's something I also want to read. It's all about financial barriers, and we're looking at one thing. Yes, it is all about in Mwingi. Nisera Kiambi Mbuvi scored 66 points and was admitted to which school? To Mudale Gown Secondary School, only to be turned away after reporting with her mother's last 2,000 shillings against the required 53,000. So that's why I was saying sometimes a learner and maybe a young person may feel that because my parents are not able to afford this, maybe I'm a misfit in the society. But we roll it all back to the Ministry of Education that maybe if this kind of money needs to be paid, maybe there are some systems, or even there are some plans and schedules that they're supposed to have, or even there is a way they need to cap the money into maybe gaps to make sure that they don't have to pay the whole amount at once, or even they do a reduction of the same. But I would feel that if maybe a student is supposed to pay 53,000, I think it should be lowered to to maybe 20 or even 15,000 to make sure that this is happening. And I need to quote Ndindi Nyoro, who said that maybe for school or day scholars in his constituency, they need to pay only 500 shillings only per term. Stories that we need to look for, and stories that need a lot of fact checking. So it's just a challenge to the ministry. And now we're looking here. Page 4 of the standard is talking about the same Benson Gedhi Wangui, man behind the latest 6.2 billion NY scandal. Then so very fast we're looking to the page 5 of the standard, talking about the NCA bill sparks fresh debate over oversight in construction sector. And it's so dangerous, it's so pathetic for just any person coming out, and we're looking at how buildings are mushrooming, construction is just being done so carelessly around at this place. And a building and a construction is normally done to make sure that people occupy the same place for maybe accommodation or any other business to be done there. But we're looking at the safety measures that NCA should be taking into consideration of the same, because you just are building mushrooms just around and they don't look at the safety of all this. And when it happens, or even when this building collapses, it brings a lot of losses, a loss of life, and bigger losses maybe to the developer. But again, to the developer, sometimes we may say maybe they have been careless, they did not follow due diligence to make sure that this construction is put up. Maybe the due diligence was not followed. So maybe for the developer we don't see a lot of losses, but someone losing their lives because of maybe careless construction of buildings just around another place. So I think NCA need to be very strict on the same, and I just want to give very key fresh oversight regulations in construction as far as the NCA bill is concerned. And the National Construction Authority Amendment Bill 2025 seeks to integrate climate change responsiveness. The bill was tabled in Parliament in September 2025 for first reading, awaiting discussion when the House resumes. And this is something that was taken into Parliament September 2025. And we're looking at the collapses that has been taking place just around South Sea just a few days ago. And this is a motion that was tabled back 2025 in September, and we are wondering why should such a bill take such a long time before it is being enabled. So I think some things that are taken to the Parliament, I think they need to be acted upon so swiftly and so seriously to make sure that we don't lose lives upon such places. And I think I just give an overview of some pages here. And state servers said back in housing levy, cases court rejects affidavit. You can read that from page 6 of the standard. Then page 7 deals not patronage. What Raila would say to ODM if he rose today? Someone was saying that Raila will just be read on every newspaper for 100 years to come. It's humorous. And the question facing ODM is whether it will honor Raila's fight for justice or surrender its soul. Born of struggle, the party cannot survive on patronage alone and risk becoming what Raila opposed. And I want to read a very small statement from the interim party leader, Dr. Oburu Odinga. Listening to Oburu Odinga's allies within ODM so far, one gets the impression that the content of their politics is not inspired by Raila Odinga's style and substance, which raises the question, has Raila progressive spirit already left ODM? And someone was saying now that Raila rested bank 2025 October. This is to mean Raila was ODM and ODM was Raila. So once Raila left, ODM left. We're looking at how all this started by appointing Odinga, Dr. Oburu Oginga, as the interim party leader, and we saw maybe they were in Mombasa for the party celebrating 20 years, and this is last year coming to the end of it. And we saw maybe some kind of wrangles within the party. We saw maybe a lot of misunderstanding within the party, and we now looking at a very big drift or even rift between Winnie Odinga, who is Raila's daughter, and his uncle. Now, the question, we're looking at the issue of Sifuna, Baba, and not Baba, but Babu Owino and other ODM leaders and officials. And we're asking ourselves, is this part of cloth in ODM turning apart? A question that will be answered. So the last page of the Standard is the 9th page, and we'll just be reading it for yourself. Kenya Pipeline IPO launches Estate House, eyes 106 billion, and prospective stakeholders can buy into the company at 9 shillings per share, with a minimum purchase set at 100 shares. A total of 11.8 billion shares are up for grabs among different market segments. And that brings us to the end of review from the Standard newspaper. If you just need any item or story from the same, you can just grab a copy of the same from just any vendor around you. Now, moving to the Daily Nation, I think I'll be very fast with this. Daily Nation is talking of a pushback where President has alleged judicial overreach and frowned upon orders as he perceives to be derailing his policies, and is talking of executive impunity. And on the front page of the Daily Nation, we're looking at Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, we're looking at Environment CS Deborah Barasa, we're looking at Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi, Interior PS Raymond Omolo, Defense PS Patrick Mariru, we're looking at Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja, and this is Deputy Inspector of Police Gilbert Masengeli, and Member Director General Mamo Boru, and KRA Customs Commissioner Lillian Nyawanda and Nyawanda, yes, and KRA Commissioner General Humphrey Watanga. And President Ruto, his administration would comply with court orders following a break from his predecessor's rule, but his government now stands accused of violating judicial decrees with petitions targeting defiant minister. The president has previously waged war against the judiciary, while state officials continue to disregard court orders. And just a simple thing that I just want to unveil from the top page of the Daily Nation. This is a very clear indication that there are people, and the story, this is a story you can read from page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. And I want to highlight that when it comes to our leadership, when it comes to governance, I feel and I understand that no one is above the law, and that there are some orders that may need are put in place by the court, which leaders are supposed to make a follow-up of the same. But we're looking at a place whereby most of the leaders and people who feel that maybe they are high in class, they are high in maybe in development, they are high in material acquisition, they feel that they're above the law and they're not ready to follow orders. Maybe there are people who our president has put in place to make sure that maybe they become maybe his point when it comes to 2027. And if they fail to adhere to the regulations, or even they fail to follow what he has put in place for them to follow, to make sure that it clinches at the 2027 elections, or even becomes a winner of the same. They feel that maybe constitutionally they are not supposed to follow the constitution, or even they're not supposed to follow the laws and regulations that are put in place. So that puts us at a crossroad where we need to ask ourselves, who is supposed to follow the law, and who is set to make sure the regulations set and laws set, they are ready to follow them as they're supposed to be. Now we're moving to the issue of SHA medical covers bias its patients, and the shame diagnosis different pay. Interference by powerful figures in social health authority SHA allocation packages has led to preferential treatment for certain Kenyans, creating a growing discrepancy in healthcare access. The nation has established that many patients, particularly those without connection to influential figures, find themselves disadvantaged, receiving lower package approvals compared to those who can make a phone call and secure higher authorization. Now, I had a question. Why did we migrate from NHIF, or why were we migrated from NHIF to SHA without proper information, without proper public participation? And now we're looking at the scandal of it. We are looking at the disadvantage of the same. Now, if you don't have an influential person maybe in a facility, you'll not be able to secure a great package. And you are looking at a comparison whereby we're told an amount of money maybe that won't take care of your medical issues and your medical matters. So, and again, if there are people who covered by the SHA, who are just there to make a call and they make sure maybe a package is done for them. So I think this looks a bit selfish, and we did not think that this kind of migration from NHIF to SHA, we didn't think of it maybe turning into such a point whereby it won't be covering each and every other person who really and have the dire need of the same services from the same SHA. So it does not sound very well, because if you move to the grass, you'll find a lot of people are suffering down there, and this was just made to make sure that these people are taken care of. So a lot of questions from the same. Then the Standard is talking of, we're seeing Mercy, who has been so rampant when it came to 2020 Corona times, where now, she's the Social Health Authority CEO, Mercy Mwangangi, at the Ministry of Health in Nairobi, September last year. So this is something as maybe it has not worked well as we wished from the start, or even from the inception of the same. The Standard, the Daily Nation is also talking of politics, where Gachagua party pursues coalition pact with Uhuru. Yeah, that's a big story. A former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's party has ratified a plan for this year's activities, including forging a partnership with former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Here's a story from page 1 of the Daily Nation. Then the second page is also talking about the SHA officials, higher payments for family and friends. Read it from page 2 for yourself, but I can just read to human interference in a social health authority, SHA. Packages has led to preferential treatment for certain Kenyans, creating growing discrepancy in healthcare access. And I thought this transition from NHIF to SHA, I think it could have been seamless. It could have not been so biased, or even trying to maybe look at preferential, or even looking at closer friends and family members. It was about covering each and every other person. But we're looking at the scandal here where SHA is now favoring friends and families. Do it from page 2 of the Daily Nation. And page 3 of the Daily Nation is also talking about education. Help me raise funds to take up my sport at Alliance High School. And this is John Mwalili. And John Mwalili still keeps the admission letter carefully folded in a small metal box at the modest home in Kware, Nairobi, as if afraid that too much handling might cause the dream it carries to slip away. I talked of maybe someone feeling like a misfit, or even doing things that maybe feel that you're not fit for the society. So we're looking at the story of John Mwalili, who scored 64 points in 2025 Kenya Junior School Education Assessment KJCA, and he has a sport, or even he has a slot in Alliance, or even at Alliance High School. And The 15-year-old, a former pupil at Zao School in Athi River, Machakos County, is among the brightest students in the first cohort to sit grade 9 national examination under the competence-based education. When the results were released, John had an impressive 64 points and outshining his classmates by a wide margin. The student who followed was trailing by more than 10 points. That performance earned him a coveted placement at Alliance High School, one of Kenya's most prestigious schools. Yeah, so John Mwalili is looking for help to see that maybe he gets the spot not taken by another person at Alliance High School. Remember, Alliance High School is a school that is highly coveted, and John needs a total of 120 shillings that he needs to take up his grade 10 sport and the prestigious school. So if you're there and you can help, John Mwalili needs your help. Page 4 of the Daily Nation: executive impunity, top state officials defy court orders despite Ruto pledge. Yes, that's a story that we did on the top page of the same, so you can read more from the same. And President William Ruto promised his administration would comply with court orders, vowing a break from the past, but his government now stands accused of violating judicial decrees. That's why I said we have leaders and people who maybe possess or even own a lot of financial or even material wealth that they feel that maybe the law should sit below them. Okay, page 5. 2 magistrates recuse themselves from 349 million Homa Bay corruption case. Then page 6, DCP pursues coalition pact with Uhuru for 2027 polls. And former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has unveiled an 8-point plan in a bid to consolidate the Mount Kenya voting bloc ahead of the 2027 general election. Mr. Gachagua, who is the leader of the Democracy for Citizens Party, DCP, is facing multiple challenges in the region. Key allies have deserted him, and his former boss, President William Ruto, has launched a sustained onslaught against him. On the other hand, state-backed actors are not giving him breathing space. As a result, Mr. Gachagua will be facing a make-or-break period over the next 17 months. So he's making a pact with the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, to make sure that he secures the voting bloc around Mount Kenya. Let's see what will be happening as far as that is concerned, and as it happens, we'll be here ready to inform you more of the same. Maybe the very last story is the deputy president. It's a kind of an analysis where the former deputy president has positioned himself as a kingmaker while straining the opposition's unity. Gachagua has been talking of him making presidents, and there is a time he mentioned that if President Ruto is not relying him to make him president come 2027, it should be a dream for the incumbent. We're waiting and looking at the same. And someone is asking, is he the united opposition's unifying figure or a bull in China shop? That's so rhetorical. Okay, now the last story, it's about Safaricom CEO queried on share price. And last year we talked of the shares around Safaricom that were maybe to be sold for almost 244 billion Kenyan shillings. And the question was, where will this kind of money get to, if at all this deal and this kind of transaction was effected? And we're looking at, this is the price of the Safaricom shares the government plans to sell featured prominently in yesterday's stakeholder engagement, with the firm CEO revealing that it was decided by the National Treasury. In the proposed transaction, the government plans to sell 15% of its 35% share holding to Vodacom at price of 34 shillings. At a joint sitting at the National Assembly's Finance and National Planning, the Public Debt and Privatization Committee's Safaricom CEO Peter Diego also defended the offloading of the shares for Vodacom due to its longevity with the government. So if this transaction is done, where will this kind of money go? So I do the same from page 8 of the Daily Nation, and that brings us to the end of newspaper review. We've done it from the Daily Nation, we've done it from the Standard newspaper. Please stay there. We thank you so much for making EBN TV of love, and TV that you keep watching each and every time. Now please don't go too far. And what's coming up next is Your Faith Today with Reverend Felix Kavoy. My name is Jeffrey Kimayosomba. All the best in watching our subsequent bulletins and programs. Thank you.